Hello everyone. Through this video, we are going to learn about the ritualization or the different types of rituals and the opportunistically evolved rituals and the origin of ritualized behavior. So, the ritualization behaviors in ducks originally occurred by disinhibition as a direct result of a conflict between sexual and attack or escape tendencies when males courted females. In ancestral males, these displacement activities or the preening behavior appeared in sufficiently balanced conflicting situations, but gradually the males performing these displacement activities more regularly became successful in mating. These activities diverted female's attention and stimulated her for sexual act. Due to an advantageous act, the descendant males lost the prime conflicting tendencies between preening and sexual acts, but now they have ritualized these activities and incorporated them into the courtship behavior. Tinbergen called that they have become emancipated or free from their original controlling mechanisms and now mainly controlled by sexual mechanisms. So that is what is meant by emancipated behavior, emancipated or free from their original controlling mechanisms. Now next comes the non-emancipated displacement rituals or situations. In contrast to the emancipated displacement activities that are still under the control of original controlling mechanisms. Secondly, this appear in a situation when conflicting tendencies are balanced, as for example, ground pecking in case of feeding in the midst of threat and fighter display in cockerels. Now we are going to learn about the main topic, that is the opportunistically evolved rituals. These kinds of rituals are concerned with the opportunistically oriented natural selection. This means that the kind of behavior occurring in one situation A provides an opportunity for serving some other function in some other situation B. Therefore, the behavior of one situation A may become ritualized for other situation B during the course of evolution. The aforesaid characteristic is exemplified by many tropical freshwater fish like gouramis and firing fish, which show ritualized nest building by air bubbles. In this case, the male fills its mouth fully with air at the surface and then blows this out in the form of saliva coated bubbles. These bubbles are now clustered at the surface film of water, mainly amongst the aquatic weeds. After courtship and mating, the fertilized eggs are deposited between the well oxygenated aggregation of air bubbles or bubble nest. It has been suggested by some scientists that the habit of bubble nest formation has followed the evolution of air breathing habit. It should be remembered here that gouramis and fighting fish belong to the family Anabantidae or the labyrinth fishes. Anabantidae or the labyrinth fishes, characterized by the presence of a labyrinth oxygen containing organ or the labyrinth organ of concentrically arranged bony plates enclosed in gill cavity. This labyrinth organ allows the Anabantidae to live in oxygen poor water. Therefore, the air breathing by gulping air at the surface habit was chiefly developed just to fulfill the oxygen requirements, but usually in this act a few bubbles escape from the mouth and remain intact at the surface film for some time. This provided an opportunity during the course of evolution to ritualize the escape of bubbles or bubble nest. In another context, there is the placement of fertilized eggs in the well oxygenated bubble nest. The dance activity of honeybees is another example of evolutionary opportunism in which dance is ritualized as a means of communication or say is used as language. In In this case, by means of its movement on the combs, a returning worker indicates to the other worker bees the direction, distance, and quality of the food source upon which it was feeding. The bees in the normal course transpose upon which it was feeding. The bees in the normal course transpose the angle between the sun and the flight path from the hive to the food to the same angle with relation to gravity on the vertical surface of the comb. During the course of evolution, this behavior became ritualized in honeybees as a dance language in the context of demand of maximum foraging efficiency. Now let's move on to the next topic, that is nothing else but the origin of ritualized behaviors. From the evolutionary point of view, the ritualized behavior is related to a variety of activities like conflict behavior, intention movements, and displacement activities. These activities are especially suitable as a means of communication. It has been seen that the common starting point for ritualization is conflict behavior. When a conflict when in a conflict situation, an animal performs more than one activity simultaneously and may through this ambivalent behavior. Ambivalent behavior, in the sense, it's a typical conflict situation in which an animal has simultaneous tendencies to perform two incompatible activities, uncertainty caused by inability to make a choice, or a simultaneous desire to do two opposite things at a time. That is something which is represented by a term called as an ambivalent behavior. This ambivalent behavior convey information about its motivational state significant for the other individual. Many threat postures are derived from ambivalence between attack and escape, and many other displays have evolved from byproducts of conflict behavior, such as the displacement activity and emotional responses. The origin of this phenomenon can be explained with the example of courtship display of male green heron. These birds usually live in salt marsh habitat where they build nests in the tops of dead trees. The males have a habit to arrive earlier than the females in the spring and start defending a nest tree by making a distinctive call just to ward off the intruding males. A forward display is shown in challenge of the intruders. In this display, male adopts a horizontal posture with the bill pointing towards the opponent. The feathers are fully erected and ruffled, and the tail is vibrated up and down. This is obviously a threat display derived from intention attack behavior. Due to this sort of exhibition, the females are attracted by the scow call, but in the beginning, as per the habit of mate, the females are rebuffed or snubbed. With the persistent approaching tendency of the female, the male changes its behavior, and accepting the female is denoted by snap display, similar to forward display, but the beak pointing diagonally downwards and mandibles snapped together. The snap display is regarded as a ritualized form of displacement in nest material collection, a behavior by which mates break twigs from trees to build nest. This means that originally males would have been in a conflicting situation between aggression and sexual behavior towards the female. In this present, highly ritualized form, it signifies male's readiness to accept the female. A clear ritualized form of intention flight takeoff is denoted by the scratch display, the bill directed outward, feathers depressed, and making a soft call. The stretch display is a antithesis of forward display, opposite of aggressive display by the male. Regarding the origin of ritualized behavior, Following conclusions can be drawn from the above cited example. The various displays, such as forward, snap, or stretch, are derived from the activities which signify the mood of the male. Intention attack and intention takeoff signify the opposite moods, while the displacement activity or the nest material gathering indicates male's conflicting situation towards female. So, due to ritualization, these activities are modified to become more effective signals. Snap display is the modified version of twig gathering, and scratch display of flight takeoff. Signal value of various postures or displays further elaborated by the development of special vocalizations and markings. Bright red lining of the mouth is exhibited during the forward display as the beak is directed towards the opponent and harsh call is given. The antithesis between the forward display and the scratch display is typically ritualized behavior. In the former, the beak is directed as a weapon towards the opponent, while in the case of later it is directed away from the female. Secondly, the former is accompanied by harsh call and the later by a soft call. Thus, a ruffling of feather in the forward display can be regarded as a ritualized form of the emotional side effect of the conflict. Ruffling of feathers helps increase the male's apparent size.